Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Weapons of H3VR. Today we are present at the sniper range, and we're not taking a look at a sniper as you might expect at the sniper range. We are taking a look at this beauty. Some of you have already recognized this. I imagine most of you have. It's a World War II German gun, very famous, nicknamed Hitler's Buzzsaw. It is one of my favorite guns because, you know, German weapons, love them. So, let's get into what this is. This is a general purpose machine gun. The Germans were the first to actually utilize the concept of a general purpose machine gun. And a general purpose machine gun is just a machine gun that can fit all roles of light, medium and heavy machine gun. Of course, nowadays we don't consider a rifle caliber machine gun a heavy machine gun, but back then they did. So this is a belt-fed machine gun. It was used in the light machine gun role, in the medium machine gun role, mounted on top of like tripod things, which rendered it a heavy machine gun. Using the bipod in squads, it was a medium machine gun. It's belt fed, which, thank you Anton, we finally have belt fed machine guns. First one we're taking a look at is of course this. Also added an M249, we'll take a look at that later, and surely he'll add more. So it's chambered in 8mm Mauser, as I said. It's a rifle cartridge machine gun. Does this actually work? No, okay, it doesn't. And this one is actually the follow-up and was intended but didn't replace the MG34. It's simpler, it has higher rate of fire, and it has an improved quick change barrel, but that isn't functioning in game. I wouldn't expect it to. So why didn't it replace the MG34? So the MG42, to put it into context, was the previous general purpose machine gun. MG34, in theory, it was introduced in 1934, but it wasn't until like 1940 that it actually was the machine gun that the infantry used. This MG42, 1942 replaced MG34. It didn't fully, but this was simpler to produce, cheaper, so overall just better. So why wasn't it replaced? Well, it actually comes down to the quick replace barrel, and of course German World War II production. They just produced anything they could, really. So the quick change barrel in this weapon, it is on the side. On the MG34, you kind of twist the receiver, I guess, out of the way, and then you can pull the barrel out directly. So okay, that still doesn't explain it. Why? Well, vehicle use. Imagine you're in a tank. It's designed for the MG34. It's designed so that you can quick change the barrel for the MG34. Well, if you suddenly, before it was just pull it straight off, when you suddenly have to pull it out at like an angle to the right, and the vehicle isn't designed for that, well, that won't really work, will it? So the MG34 ended up being mainly vehicle use, but of course also as Germany used anything they could, it was also used infantry throughout the war. And thus we really come into this thing. Let's talk about it itself. 8mm Mauser, as I've said. It's belt fed. Pop the cover up, as you can see. Comes with this little 50 round magazine in a sense. So this isn't really a magazine since it literally just holds the belt. And that's how it was in the light machine gun role. It just had this little drum, plunked it on the side. The MG34 also had a dual drum, which was quickly abandoned. So 50 round drum, you just pop it in and pull that in, close the top, charge it, and now it's ready to fire. In the medium and the heavy roll, it would have an actual belt in a proper box separately. But of course, this allowed it to be used on the move, simple enough. And as I mentioned, this is higher rate of fire than the MG34, 1200 rounds per minute, which most light machine guns of the time was like 600 rounds per minute, like the Bren gun, the 1919 Browning, I believe it is. But, well, the 1919 Browning isn't really a light machine gun. And it was also higher than the MG34, which featured actually variable, well, early versions featured variable fire rate. So, let's shoot Hitler's Buzzsaw. The sight familiar, it's just a notch and a front post. It has a pistol grip. Let's shoot some targets. A bit too low. And it has one single fire mode, which is I missed, which is fully automatic. There we go. Yeah. Easy enough to reload. Oops, glitching out. Land it up. Pop up cover. Not down. Pop. Charging handle. This is an open gun, open bolt machine gun, like most machine guns, for cooling reasons. And oh yeah, that fire rate. No wonder they called it Hitler's Buzzsaw. Like, it's just brrrt. One of the highest fire rate machine guns ever used in infantry service. Actually, maybe even the highest fire rate. And it being 8mm Mauser, it is very powerful. And I do love the drums on this. It's a nice way to go about it. Of course, if you have it loaded, you can't just pull the drum out. You gotta pop the dust cover, get the rounds back in the drum, pull it out. There's a bug or something crawling up around here. Sorry about that. So yeah, that's one feature about open bolt guns, or not the belt-fed machine guns, I mean. You can also, and I don't recommend that, fire it from your shoulder. And this does not have a semi-auto fire mode, unlike the MG34. So this is pretty much useless, fired from the shoulder, but you can do it. And I'll show you why. Aim at, let's aim at that crate. It just goes everywhere, as you can see. So, definitely would not recommend firing this from the shoulder. And if it isn't supported by your shoulder, it goes literally everywhere. 8mm Mauser is not around to mess around with. But I guess things are starting to lie. I guess all those bullets will do that. But I guess if you burst fire, it's not too bad. Oh, which speaking of bullets down there, forgot to mention a feature. If we fire, it ejects from the bottom. And then, although we can't see it, if we pop that there, the belt kind of goes out on the side, but that isn't modeled in game. So yeah, cool weapon. Let's clean that up. It's starting to become laggy. So yeah, this is a cool weapon. MG42, one of my favorites. I like the MG34 more though, because single fire, more controllable as well, because lower fire rate. But this was a feared weapon during World War II. And its derivatives are in use by the German army still today in the form of the MG12? I might just be imagining that. Either way, derivative of this weapon is still in use by the German army. So that's pretty cool, unlike most German World War II weapons, which got basically ditched. And this has been a look at the MG42, the first, well, one of two first belt-fed weapons in H3VR. I hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to vote for the next gun you want to see for next month in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed. And yeah, I'll see you next time with more guns down here in H3VR. Bye!